mobile homes actually do appreciate over time. I know most people do not believe that. I didn't believe that until I saw it with my own eyes. And now I have data to actually back it up. Proof positive. You cannot ignore the data. It doesn't lie. So for years, everyone thought that mobile homes, for decades, that mobile homes, manufactured homes, same kind of thing, they depreciate over time. Therefore, they don't make a good buy and hold real estate investment. Well, times have changed. So this chart that you can see behind me, this is illustrated. I took the last 25 years of data from my own local market, from the Realtor MLS, and tracked starter homes, homes less than 1,300 square feet, and tracked all manufactured home sales, used manufactured home sales. And so not just the new ones, but like the used ones, okay? To try to see what is the average sell price that they're selling over time, and what does that look like? And there's two scales. The orange on the left, that is the scale for the traditional starter homes, the stick-built houses. And the green is on a different scale for the mobile homes. And so you can see, even though they're at different price points, you can see that it's almost identical what the price trend is doing. Essentially, manufactured homes are mirroring the appreciation of traditional homes in our marketplaces. And a lot of people don't believe that's the case, but it's true. And I have one on the national level I'll show you in just a moment, because not every market's the same, but this is a proof positive that this is actually a new trend. So what is causing this? How can this actually be possible? Here is another one. It doesn't go back as far, but goes back to 2015, so 10 years, and you can see that this is on the national level of home price, of looking at traditional homes versus manufactured homes, and you can see that it basically follows the same trend line of what it's doing in appreciation. So it's hard to believe, but here's why it's happened, okay? Because when manufacturers first came in on the scene, we're talking in the late 50s, but mostly in the 60s and 70s, is when they really started coming into favor. And that's when they were putting in mobile home parks constantly, all the way up through, to the 2000s, like decade after decade, mobile home parks were going in, and every city just about across the United States, right? They're going in everywhere. So that meant is that there was manufacturing companies just pushing these out at a huge high rate. And I can even show you those numbers. Like, there were way more of these manufactured homes coming out because they had a place for them to go to. They were going in to these parks. And therefore, if you bought one, you're like, wow, this is a great house. But then 5 years later, you're ready to sell. Well, you're constantly competing with this massive oversupply and new homes. And so for you to sell your homes, sell your used manufactured home, you had to lower the price significantly to get it sold. Well, that trend went on for decades. So that meant that it just seemed like these things didn't appreciate, when in reality, it was just a supply and demand factor. There was just way too much supply. It's really not that complicated, but it happened for such a long period that we just all assumed, myself included, that manufactured homes depreciated over time. No. So that's a factor, and because that went on for so long, it got really popular. Well, not popular. It got really common for manufactured home owners to not invest any money to keep them up, to improve them, because they just like, well, it's just going to, depreciate down to zero eventually. So why put any money into it? And therefore, this manufacturing, housing, these housing assets, many of them are in very significant disrepair, and of course that draws down the value of what you can sell it for. Just like any traditional home, if you never fix the roof and you never paint the siding, eventually Mother Nature wins, deteriorates that house, right, to the point where it depreciates, it it no longer holds its value to be resold. You have to sell it for much less because somebody's got to come in and revive that thing. Same thing with the manufactured homes. Okay, so which is why I go in and I do like a fix and flip on these manufactured homes. I rehabilitate them. And so I often get some that are in disrepair. So that's what in the world of fix and flip, right? You do. You look for homes that are in needing of some love, like they're called a fixer, right? And you can get them at a very discounted price often because it takes a certain kind of buyer who can come in there and do that much work. The typical buyer, typical homeowner coming in is usually not up for that kind of level of rehabilitation on some of these houses. Now, some manufactured homes are so far gone. They're so far, you know, been neglected for so long. Sometimes it's not worth repairing them. But a lot of them are. I've remodeled many of them that are over 50 years old, and people are thinking those things are junk. I tell you what, man, yeah, they may not have the wall thickness that they do of new homes today. They may not have, certain features that you would like to see in a home, far as like insulation value, but they are decent housing. And if you put a new roof on there, another 20, 30-year roof on there, well, then boom, right? It's fine. You update the heating and cooling, and you update the windows, and you paint the property, and update the flooring, and you get rid of the junk that they put in there when they manufacture the house, and you put in some, actually, do the same kind of kitchen remodel I do on my normal, traditional home flips. Well, all of a sudden, that's a nice house. That's a real nice house. You should see some of my flips. They look fantastic. And so it's a good house. And because they're usually smaller, they're not, even though they may not be insulated as good as a traditional house, some aren't. But let's say if it's not, at least it's lower square footage, and therefore it sometimes evens out where it's not a huge bear to, keep these things warm and cool. So anyway, I tell you all this because like this is a pretty interesting investment model for a lot of people. You can get into these investments often 1/5 or even 1/10 of what you would normally get into a traditional real estate investment for. And they actually do appreciate over time. This is what all the data is showing. So I think it's something that we should definitely be looking at harder. Like I said, this is my market. And I didn't start actually getting into mobile home investing until right up here. So this is the level I started playing in. Imagine if I started back here. We all can say that, right? I wish I bought more, properties. I was able to buy more properties in the early, 2010, 2011, 12, because it was just the bottom of the bottom right then, right? Well, you can't go back in time, but what you can do is make smart investments. And that's what I'm trying to help people do inside my investment community. I created a mobile home investing club, where I come in, people can learn about the strategies that I'm doing and others are doing inside this space. And I even have free courses and case studies that people can, learn about, have even deeper level of opportunities for mentorship and partnerships and fun challenges to help people get in this space and take action and start really making money inside of my community as well. This is all just to kind of help show them change minds, because my mind needed to be changed. I didn't believe this until I saw it firsthand. And so that's why I'm sharing it with you. This is real. And it means that that like a lot of times, like even my area, it's like it's common now for a lot of these manufactured homes, a decent one, it's like a 3-bedroom 2-bath home, it's going to sell for over 100,000 based on this chart showing right here. But a lot of times I can purchase them down, like I'm going back in time. Like I often get some under 40,000, and then that allows me to rehabilitate them and then sell them for a higher price. Now, and so if you don't want to be in the fix and flip world, but you want to get into more investments, but you don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars, and you're not sure you want to rattle yourself with a bunch of debt, you're smart. Okay. But here's what you do. You partner, you find someone like me, and I have others across the country who are doing this. So if you have money to invest, whether it's 15,000 or 50,000 or 100,000, whatever, and you're wanting to invest in real estate, uh, then, you know, this is a really cool option. You'll see inside my community that I'm doing really well, and I do a lot of, sometimes I just sell them, for like a one-time sell, and a lot of times I'm selling them as like the bank, and I'm creating decades worth of cash flow on every sale and offering affordable, nice affordable housing to my area. And they're paying, even though, yeah, I'm selling it for a higher price, and yeah, I don't have the lowest interest rates for sure. It's still, they're paying less than they pay for it to rent the same kind of house in my area. So it's still a win because they own it, they pay less than renting, and therefore it's a win. It's a win for all parties involved. So learn more about it. I'll have a link to it. If you're not a part of my community yet, get it, come in there and check it out, right? And if you're looking to invest more passively, you can reach out to me and talk to me about that, because again, I have opportunities there. Or if you're looking to be an active investor and to go out and do these flips on your own, like, I have all kinds of resources and help and support around that if that's something you want to jump into. Okay. So here it is, actual proof that mobile homes do appreciate. And yeah, and it happens not just in my market, it happens everywhere. And of course, there's nuances to this, nuances that I can get into, where things you still want to be careful. You can still, doesn't, it can change a lot from park to park, just like from neighborhood to neighborhood. All right. So there's certain things you want to know before you jump into this, but I'll share those details with you. You can learn more about that inside my community and other places. But yeah, check that out, and I'll see you inside.